You won't wait until you wait.
I get that, but
yeah,
there are certain things that men can do to. It's a form of seduction. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So they can seduce you into doing what they want you to do.
Absolutely.
And
I'm not knocking that that's an idea, and that if that's a bad idea, because men, y'all have to understand that we do that as well.
Oh shit! I'm listening.
Absolutely.
I'm listening. Give me some game.
I'm not gonna give you all the game because there are people watching, so I don't want them to recognize anything before it hits them, right? But again, I'd love to go back to being taught as a woman by my father. My father taught me from a very young age, and when I say young age, like before I hit 20, the art of being a woman. How to make a man feel comfortable around you, feel confident enough to do things for you. And even in my adulthood, my father told me a couple of weeks ago, he said, you know, the type of woman that you are, I don't see how you don't have a lot more going on. And he told me just by the type of personality that I have, showing intelligence, showing maturity, but then also showing like a sexy side of me, and then a very ladylike, polite side of me. A lot of times that when you haven't experienced that, when you see it for the first time, that makes you want to dive in, right? So a part of my personality, I unintentionally and then sometimes intentionally know how to let that out.
Right.
As far as being, what's the proper word? Enticed. I think everyone has to have a balance of saying, do I want this from this person? Do I want to give this to this person? Because that kind of helps cut down on a lot of back and forth. If you say, hey, I like the way this person is treating me. It might be momentarily, but okay, now that kind of opens a door for me to feel comfortable. In the next spot, like for me, I don't care how much I like you. If I go on a date with you, don't try to kiss me.
Well, yeah. Kissing is so personal. Like I take
so
kissing
personal, but the people
is more
do
personal
it.
than sex with me.
It is for me too.
Yeah,
It is for me too. And keep your lips off me, please.
Well, you might want to be old fashioned and kiss your hand. So do you believe in women dropping the handkerchief, so to speak, in intentionally getting a man who you are interested in's attention? So even because here's the thing, when people talk about self-love and self-care, these are things that are pieces to that puzzle.
Absolutely.
And how you feel about yourself reflects in how you interact with others, as well as it affects the trajectory of your relationships.
I agree. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I actually have come to a point in my life that I want more women to do that. I think I have almost every single one of my girlfriends, whether from the smallest role to the greatest role, if you line all of us up together and say who would be willing to go talk to that man, I would be the only one.
Wow.
And I think it reaches beyond confidence. I don't mind rejection if that is a part of the game. I don't mind going outside of my box because I have learned that I prefer going after what I want versus people coming after me.
Got it, yeah.
I think if anybody could be honest and say, when I go out, I don't want nobody talking to me. Every man that comes and talks to me, I reject it. It's a bad thing.
I'm sorry, but I have to ask, like, could you potentially be like...
Absolutely, I could. I already know what you're going to say because
yeah.
they tell me that as well.
Yeah.
You know, I gamble that. There's been times that I've met,
Okay.
I've met men who has told me, I wanted to marry you instead of her.
Wow. Yeah.
And then you might look at this woman and how the lifestyle she has, and like, damn.
I could have been straight.
But I look at it like, you know, I know what I want, and you know what you want. That doesn't mean they're aligned.
That's true.
You know?
That's true.
I'm approached by a lot of people who I think like, nah, one, I know you couldn't handle me.
Oh, shit. What does that mean?
That handle me means in its entirety. Most men, their first thing is like, oh, can her being a sexual person in the bedroom?
No. That's not even... I don't even think about that.
Yeah, but
I think about attitude, personality.
Absolutely, yeah. But there's not a lot of men who are going to be like you and hear that same phrase the same way. So I have to be conscious of when I say something like that, there are other people who are going to be like, oh, what's that like? So, but when I say a lot of men that can handle me, I have a very, as I mentioned before, whimsical personality. So I might feel some way today. I'm a Gemini, and if anybody is into any type of that gives you an insight into a little bit of how I am, and just like all over, that's how I am. For some people, that's a lot for them to tolerate because they may be just like here every day. That doesn't work for me. There's sometimes I need someone to know how to speak to me. I don't want you to be aggressive because if I need to cry to make you feel bad, I'm
Really?
gonna take some water and...
Are you? Oh my God,
yeah,
man!
I'm that girl. But then again, I can listen to some very direct comments and know how to not get upset or not to how to be offended.
Got it.
So it's a lot that comes
You're
into
very
me.
cunning.
Okay, I've never heard that one, but I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. But that's just kind of how I've kind of went in this direction. And then also a way how to handle me. I want people to understand that I don't want to be in the typical mindset in my relationship. I want a man who's going to teach me something. I think that's the most sexiest, non-sexual thing that a person can do for you is teach you something. Yeah. Now, if you're a man, you can teach me something. I don't care. You might teach me how to do the tire, whatever.
The tire.
Look, I'm over here cranking.
Change the tire.
Change the tire.
Gotcha.
You may show me how to teach me how to do that. I may not learn not one thing. But the fact that you took your time and your energy to really teach me something that you feel as though I need to know, and the way you very delicately and teach me that, I think that's so attractive. So whether it don't matter if it's the tire, finances, you teaching me about how to work my computer, I love that.
So the problem with that is I hear so many women who are like the opposite. They're like,
I know.
Oh, teach me. And then because I get accused of this a lot. Like people say that I talk down to them. And not in like a disrespectful way, but it's almost like I think when I'm explaining things, I'll say like, you understand what I'm saying? And that just turns them off. Like, dude, like I'm not dumb.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, so with that idea, I love to come to people and say, okay, it's not, we've heard this our whole life. It's not about the messenger. It's about the message. But if you're not self-conscious in your own personal development again, you're not going to know how to receive any messages.
That's
Period.
true.
My mother used
Hell
to
yeah.
always tell my brother and I, she said, it doesn't matter who you meet in your life. You need to always be receptive of learning or accepting some type of information. And she said it could be a homeless person on the street and they could tell you, they could look at you and you see them like, oh, they're homeless. I don't, want to have to speak to them or listen to them. But he could tell you, hey, don't go down that alley. It's some men waiting at the alley trying to attack someone. And you may brush it off like, oh, let me walk across the street, or oh, who are you? But he may say, hey, I'm here 24 hours a day, the same spot every day.
And I see everything.
That has happened to me before in my life. I hang around Uptown all the time, and there are some homeless people that they'll ask you for something. Then it was so funny, and I took that with me as an example because my mom preached that to me growing up. And when it happened to me for the first time, and it wasn't no men waiting at the end of the alley. He told me and a group of my girlfriends, we were walking, he said, don't go down that street. It's a bunch of people fighting, and somebody just got their purse stolen.
Okay.
And when he said that to me, in my body, I almost felt like overly emotional, because that was a life lesson my mom used to tell me. It's not about the messenger, it's about the message. And that night, all of us were coming from a club, walking just very, vicariously, and you wouldn't think of that, and I felt like that was a sign to remind me again what my mom had preached to me.
Yeah.
And again, it had nothing to do with that man. He just somehow protected all of us and did not have to.
And at the end of the day, they say, just to get into the religious mode for a second, be careful how you entertain strangers, because you may be entertaining angels. I feel like I've had homeless looking stinky dudes approach me on different things at different times, and I believe that at least one of them at some point had to be an angel. It was just a test.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I will say is that I try not to be a respecter of persons. I feel like that's one of my superpowers. I love the underdog. Huh?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love the underdog. I'm always rooting for the underdog anyway. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when you say that, and you talk about self-care, and you talk about how, just sometimes like the lessons that you were taught and how they've come back and they added value to your life. Excuse me. When I think about that, I think about seriously, this homeless dude literally saved my life. Like I was in the streets real heavy when I was younger, and this dude, he literally saved my life. He said, man, they've been watching the house all day, man. I don't think you should go in there. So what I did, I went and bought like a 12-pack or something, a case of beer, and sat at the bus stop with these two homeless dudes and drank beer. And when I got back to the house, it was bullet holes through the damn house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Seriously.
And that's how it can be. And you use that life experience and you say that it saved your life. But as an example, now that might be an extreme situation because you lived it. We lived an experience like that. But as you mentioned previously, for the women who may say you talk down to them or to other women, I
Men
think
say it too, though. That's the thing.
And they very well can say it. I think the whole idea is if you have not strengthened your ability to learn how to listen and gauge, or let me switch that up, not listen and gauge. Very child educational, basic reading, comprehending.
Damn, she's breaking it all the way down.
Let's go all the way down and say reading and comprehension. No, we're not reading any literature on any page, but audio is a form of reading when someone is talking to you, because your brain is reading those words.
Okay.
It's just not your eyes.
Got you.
So that form of reading and comprehending, that understanding part, that's so essential to where we will literally miss everything someone just said to us because we did not comprehend it the way we wanted to. We did not hear it the way we wanted to. And if people really understand how much of a disservice that is to yourself, you would say, wow, how ignorant really am I to have missed all these messages throughout my whole lifetime because I didn't hear it the way I wanted to hear.
You know what? I'm going to share something with you. You may have heard this. You may have thought about it. It may have never crossed your mind. But the more I've learned that the less educated a person is, whether it be book sense or life experience or being more cultured or less cultured, the easier they are to get offended.
Oh, absolutely.
You agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you don't have any development.
You don't have a point of reference.
Don't have a point of reference. That's exactly. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you putting a person in a room that's completely pitch black and telling them find your way out. Mm-hmm. That's essentially, and then what we also have to do personally is know that if we're in that situation, how to get ourselves out.
True.
If you're talking to me about, how the societal exceptions or expectations of women are, if I'm not at a decent basis of life experiences, and development, everything that you're going to say, I'm going to have a problem with it. And let me tell you what's so interesting. When you don't have a lot of that knowledge, your brain scrambles to try to figure out what to say, how to feel, when to say it, what exactly to attack, what exactly to ignore. And you can't even find a good reference point to even start at, which is why a lot of times when people have arguments, you pull things that has nothing to do with what you're discussing. I always like to tell people, now when I'm arguing with somebody, I want to it's going to be one or two. Either we're going to be belligerent, which I don't want. I don't want that because I'm scared of what that could lead to for me. Or either we're going to be very strategical and say, what are we discussing right here? I know I'm at this type of emotion. I know you're there, but what exactly are we discussing? One thing I will not tolerate in a confrontational conversation, we can't be all over the place, because me being all over the place with you or vice versa, that creates friction in me to where I'm gonna go in a different direction. So let me help.
You're gonna choose violence.
Well, yeah, verbally, yeah, I may.
Well, it's the same thing.
But for me, I think if I want to tell you, hey, this is how I want to discuss this. If I offended you, tell me what I did to offend you. I'm not going to tell you while you've told me, oh, well, you said this originally and that's what made me upset. It ain't about that. I want you to tell me what I did to offend you, and what I want to give to you as a response is recognition and apologetic type of behavior.
Oh, women do not apologize.
I do.
That's a beautiful thing.
I want to do that.
So what I will say is you are definitely an enigma to a degree, because you hold some traits that men would bash, but at the same time you hold some traits that men would definitely applaud you for. So at the end of the day, I guess that makes for a good balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think one thing I've learned recently is whatever you're looking for, you have to be able to know how to project those things. I've been single for a couple of years.
You hear that, fellas?
Yes, guys, I have been single for about a good 5 years strong.
That's more than a couple.
Yeah.
More than a couple. Okay.
And I've loved this time to myself, and because I've really went over and beyond with my own personal development to where I do not have someone else who is influencing me in any type of different. I'm the head of everything I have going on. Is that a bad thing?
No, not a bad thing. But I do have a question.
Yeah.
To piggyback on, because you're the head of everything that you have going on, there are some men who would believe that it would be hard for you to allow a man to come in and be the head. You understand what I'm saying? But I can see how your checklist could potentially save you from running into that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My checklist has saved me countless amount of times. And because I have that checklist, I don't feel obligated to open the door to everybody who knocks.
So there are some men who would be watching this. So this shameless plug. This podcast airs on Grind City TV, which is a Roku TV channel, every Thursday night at 9 p.m.
All right.
And we are, it starts at 8 with Cool Out Corner. And then there's the Cognac Room podcast, which is this show. And then there is Bet the House podcast, which comes on at 10 with Big Smash. You definitely have to check it out. And there are 3 ways to watch. You can watch through your Roku TV or the Roku that goes into your television, or you could watch online through your browser at www.grindcity.net, I believe it is. Or if you have Google Play and Android phone, you can download the app. So there are men who are watching this who would say that that because you feel the way you feel, that you won't be a submissive woman or a submissive wife. Do you desire to be a wife at any point?
Not right now.
No, I'm saying, like, when you think about your life, do you say, I would love to find love and be someone's wife one day?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I certainly would love that with the all caps one day.
One day. But we're 31, right? So in your mind, ideally, when do you think that is? Like, if you had a fairy and your fairy godmother said, hey, when you want to be married and I'll make it happen.
If I had to be totally honest, it would have certainly been before I had a child. So because I missed that mark, I don't think to put another highway marker in my view. But I do know, I have said to myself, so if I can't answer that big question, I'm going to give a smaller question I can't answer. I have told myself, if not by the end of this year, certainly by the beginning of next year, I'm going to openly start dating. So I don't know if I want to, I'm not going to be doing a application interview process, but it'll almost seem that way. But I'm definitely open to the idea now that I've gotten at a certain point in my life and have a lot more stability than what I imagine. I'm ready to open myself up to that idea of finding a partner, finding love. So we'll see. Like I said, that's a timeline I certainly have as for right now. So I'm certainly preparing myself to the idea of dating. I have went on a few dates here recently, and it didn't go nowhere.
So let's talk about that.
Yes, let's.
Why didn't it go anywhere?
The last one I went on, this gentleman, I think he was accustomed to dating a woman that's not like me. And before I go into details about that, I have to make a public service announcement that nobody wants to listen to, nobody wants to accept. You cannot date a woman, or it's not a good idea to date a woman who is not on your level. Because you are not going to know how to talk to her. You're not going to know how to vibe with her. And when I say on your level, let me go into details with this specific scenario. He kept telling me like how a woman should talk or how a woman should, and nothing was wrong with what he's saying. He was just basically, I don't want a woman that has attitude, that talk down on a man, and stuff that I totally agree on. Okay. But
let's go.
If you don't, I think dating women on your level, you can easily spot that as soon as you look at it in some type of form. Yeah. It may not be on a full spectrum, but you can recognize some of that with your first approach to her. And he also, I don't know how he missed it, which the only thing I could gauge from, he wasn't listening to me when I was talking, and that does happen a lot. I do date a lot of, have dated a lot of men who, they're not interested in who you are
what you gotta
as
say.
A woman.
They don't care what you have to say.
It's so disappointing.
Listen, I care about how you look.
Yes.
I care about what's going to happen after this date. That
Absolutely.
is it.
And it's really have been disappointing for me for years, that's why I think I haven't dated for so long, because once I recognize that, you have to make a choice. Am I going to accept this and move forward, or am I going to end this? And I have had a lot of men in this Charlotte city that have seen me one time and never seen me again.
God, that's it.
And it's so sad when they come back and be like, what did I do? Can I do this better? I got a text message from someone last night, and I just was like, oh my God, he's such a great guy. Like, I would love to tell you.
What's the problem?
Something's wrong with me. I can't have that conversation with him because I told you from the beginning. I told you how I want you to move with me. And one thing I have to be conscious as a woman, and a lot of men, they kind of pause when I say this. I have to be careful who I allow into my aura, because I have all these, in their eyes, great personality characteristics, beauty traits, if you will. They can get locked on that the first time. And if I'm not in a position to where I'm locked in as well, what is it going to do? I don't want to lead anyone on. I don't care what you have to offer, how attractive you are. I'm not going to lead you on for any reason, because I think that for me, that's too much. I can't. I'm going to need you to know how to move. And if you're going to move like that. If I'm going to move, I'll move like that. So I have to be careful. There are some people I know, like, you're a great person, but I can't be a friend with you. Or I can't go on a second date with you because you didn't hit it on the first mark. It's hard.
It's cold, man. It's harsh. It's cold and it's harsh.
But it's just like, I'm going to tell you this. It's so simple. It's so simple that it could be beautiful if you all guys are interested. If I tell a man very openly, I like flowers on the first date. I like flowers on Tuesday just because it's Tuesday.
They don't do it. It's like...
And they don't do it, but then you want a woman to feel very soft and delicate and sweet around you all the time, and you didn't even give her no example of a flower.
So here's the thing. Some of us are used to these hood boogers.
Yes.
Let me explain.
But didn't I tell you, do not date anybody that's not on your level?
That's true, but
if you used to it, do it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So here was my thing. I was on a different level from this particular female. And I think she may have been considered by some a hood booger.
Mercy.
But she was extremely attractive. So that's the whole thing. That's where the whole deception comes in at. It's like she's beautiful, she's got this amazing body, and she has a great career. But she's just a hood booger, right? Wow. She's from the block. So, but then you have to understand sometimes maybe the dude has been block adjacent or he's been on the block himself. And so it's like, yeah, I'm at this stage in my life right now, but you know, she fine or whatever. So let's see what's good with her. The issue was I took her flowers. I met a hood booger chick, took her flowers. And the first time she's like, oh, thank you. So
she ain't like it.
No, she said it, thank you. Second time I took him to her, she said, thank you. She said, listen, I'm not a flower girl. Like, I don't really want. So, and what it did, and this is where I erred, this is where I made a major mistake, is that I basically said, okay, well, I ain't buying no more flowers. You know what I'm saying? Now, I did get back to buying flowers, but eventually, but what happened, I mean, so a lot of men, because you have to understand, and I hear what you're saying when you say, you know, kind of dating your bracket, date people on your level, you know, but sometimes either we don't know or we don't understand what that means. All we know is I'm attracted to her and I'm going to shoot my shot. And then, God forbid, you shoot your shot and she says, yes, you can have my number. You can take me out. You're like, oh, shit. You talking to the boy, but bruh, I got me one. You know what I'm saying? Because you calling it early. And then she's talking to you and she's talking about the flowers and, you know, maybe you over here rolling a blunt or some shit. You ain't paying attention. You missed it. Right? So you show up for the date and you don't bring her flowers. Okay. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's strike one for you, or maybe that's just like, nah, we done. I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't experienced that yet. I think if I like the person, for what I've seen so far, I can excuse a lot of stuff at the beginning. And if it matters to me, I certainly will have a conversation with you to say, hey, I really like this. I like when you do this to me because it makes me feel this way. And women, here is a key. You have to learn how to talk to men. You can't just say, hey, I want flowers on the first date. I love to tell men I love flowers. Okay, so this is an example. I tell a man, I love flowers. That's a general statement. He can or cannot hear it. So, right, if you doing it, whatever you're doing on the sideline, hear it or not hear it. But what I'm going to convey to you, because that's something that's very essential with dating me, I'm going to tell a man, bring it home to him to say, a lot of times I want to feel like a flower with you. I want to feel soft. I want to feel delicate. I want to feel poised. And I want to feel beautiful. That's what a flower represents to me in the essence of a woman. So if you hear me explain that to you, you may say, dog, I ain't never heard a woman say she feel like a flower. So once you hear like, hey, I feel like a flower, I guarantee you that's going to stick in your mind quicker than saying, oh, I like flowers.
True.
So a lot of times I encourage a lot of women, learn how to talk to the man who you're dealing with. Because some people, they may hear some things, and then certain things, it may really stick out. So if I'm telling you I want to feel like a flower, I am a flower, I want you to treat me like a flower, you'll understand the value of what flowers does to me as a woman, and you would want to provide those. Now, I am the type of woman, I would like to be more specific. I don't like red roses.
Oh, shit.
I'm not a red rose type of woman. So if I'm telling you I like flowers, for me as a woman, I'm going to be very detailed and tell you, hey, I like Casablanca lilies. And this is where you can get these from.
Oh, shit. Well,
to make it easier,
that's
because
cool.
I want to, and I have been on a date. One guy, great guy, so sweet. And we went on our first date or maybe I don't. No. I'm sorry. When on our second date, I told him I like flowers. Didn't bring it to me on the first date. Excused it because he's a great guy. Second date, I told him I wanted flowers. Brung me the flowers, right? Loved them. They were the perfect ones, of course, because I picked them out.
Basically, yeah. Okay.
And I received them just so like, oh, I love my flowers, blah, blah, blah. So the next time we see each other, he told me, he said, I don't like buying women flowers. That's not something I'm going to be doing for you.
Wow.
And if that's something you want, I just think you should just get yourself a weekly bouquet. Because I'm not finna be doing that.
So, oh shit.
And when he said that to me, when I tell you, I have grown, honey. I kept the ultimate composure because flowers are a big deal for me. Mm-hmm. And when he said that, I was like, oh, this man will never look at my face again. And I didn't even feel the need to tell him like, oh, I don't.
You just ghosted me.
Sure did. 2 years later, still on my line. But it was unfortunate because he almost took it as though like I was like forcing him to do something out of his manhood. And the way I looked at it, like, wow, I've never had a man to tell me I'm not going to buy you flowers. I don't like that. But it wasn't something for him. Until this day, he don't know what happened.
Really? He didn't have enough sense to kind of reference that? Maybe?
Apparently not.
So here's what I will say. I'm like that about certain things. I'm not going to lie. I'm that type of dude. Like, it's just some shit I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm just being honest, you know, and I'm very selfish with my time. That's part of the issue. Mm. So anytime, you know, some old frivolous bullshit inconveniences my life, it's a turn off to me. So if it's not something I'm interested in, you know what I mean? So I understand how men have, you know, these pet peeves and boundaries and just things that we're not willing to do. But like buying flowers, dog, like shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was really sad because he could have had a potential couple of months with me.
Oh shit! A whole couple of months.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I get it.
I mean, I think meeting him the first time, I knew it wasn't gonna be any longevity. But I'm willing to befriend people and be cool with you for however long it lasted.
That's the thing. Like sometimes, and I feel like sometimes it's just meant to be platonic. It's just meant to be friendship.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
what we do is, we like, man, look at that.
So I have a question for you. I really would love to get perspectives of men from this question. Why can men not have a platonic relationship with an attractive woman? Either a woman that they want or wanted, or maybe even never wanted.
Okay. Because we are trained to hunt and conquer. These conquests are very important to us. We love the thrill of the chase, and it's just certain types of men. Like a man like myself, I up until like I'll say my adulthood, like recently, I've not been able to have like a platonic friendship with a woman, and it was just because it's a cultural thing too, because a lot of black men struggle with that. White men don't struggle with as much with that. As much with that.
They don't.
So for us, it's kind of like, because all your boys, man, she fine as a motherfucker, you hitting that? And so you start, to think, I'm supposed to be hitting that. Like, shit, come here, girl. Nah, and sometimes like you screw up a friendship with that bullshit. So when you mature and you grow older, you kind of learn to like play your position. But what happens is when you learn to play your position like that, then they start feeling you, because it's like, this is the one dude, like he ain't pressing me, he ain't done it. Yeah. I don't even know if he's attracted to me.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I say this all the time. If you want to date a girl, ignore her. Ignore her. I promise you it works. You're in a room.
I think that will work for me too.
Yeah, you're in a room. I'll give you a story real quick.
Because I'm gonna ignore you back.
Oh, see, yeah. But I was an attention whore when I was at my whole weight. I was definitely an attention whore, right? So used to getting attention from women. Always wanted to get attention from women. So if it didn't happen, then yes, I'm looking at you like, why the fuck? I'm Jay. You know what I'm saying? It was that sort of thing. But I remember this young lady. I worked at a specific place, and she was like new to the job, and like it was an office setting, so everybody's kind of dressed nice and everything. So when she got there, the shit was crazy, man. Like every dude was at her office door every like 10-20 minutes, a different dude. Boom, 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 boom. And I told myself, I'm like, man, I'm not going over there. I'm not saying nothing to that girl, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't. I ignored her for like 2 weeks, right? And like literally, she would walk by me in the hallway, and I'd look the other way. I was the one that got her, because by the time, it's just like going to the club at 9 p.m. By the time everybody else start rolling in, your outfit sour, you looking crazy. They've been watching you all night. Right. You don't have any. There's no intrigue. There's no more interest there. Mm-hmm. So I said that to say this. A lot of times when the guy is right, like really trying to have a platonic relationship or friendship, let me say that, females end up wanting to cross the boundaries because he's not coming at them the way that everybody else does.
I never thought about the opposite of that.
It's true.
It is true. It is true. Because I think with the nature of my personality, I know I'm more attracted to somebody who gives me my space versus somebody who hounds me. I'm a want to see you, want to be around you when you give me my space or when you're not all in my business.
Right.
I've told people before, if you texting me every day, good morning, what you doing, how was your day, that doesn't work for me. And then I still have people who hear that and still do it. Text you good morning every day, and there's times I don't respond.
Oh, wow.
I don't respond. You may not hear from me for 2 or 3 weeks, but it doesn't stop you from being consistent. I think
you can't.
You can do that.
2 or 3 weeks, I just don't text me no more. If I don't hear from you in 2 or 3 weeks, and you text me like, "Hey, what you doing?" I'm not going to respond at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know the logic behind that. I have yet to figure that out. But it would be nice to understand that. But yeah, that's a little challenging. Anytime you get ready to start dating somebody new, there's always going to be challenges that you're going to have to start evaluating. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, at this point in time in my life, my challenge is going to be if I know that I do not want to be involved on a daily basis, how is that going to work for me when someone feels the opposite? So I have to ask myself, well, then are you really ready? Because I jokingly tell my girlfriends a lot, I want a boyfriend 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know?
I get that.
But
nobody's willing to be that.
Nobody's willing to be that. If somebody is really, who loves you, who has invested time and attention to you and whatever else comes with it, they're going to want to be connected with you a lot. Now, because
maybe a married man is your judge.
No, I don't think.
I'm just saying, like, because some women they'd rather deal with someone who has someone because it relieves that pressure.
And I can understand how a lot of women feel that way. So that has to do with one, who she is as a woman and what her requirements is, just without adding somebody to it.
Right.
Now, me, I'm very conscious in knowing that a lot of relationships are not going to work like that. So you're going to have to change your method of expectations in order to be in compliance, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I know that's not going to work. So, which is why I've been single for so long, because I know that I have not been ready for that. But that is something that I'm trying to actively work out through my life, to say, what is it about me that I say, hey, I can't deal with on a daily basis? And I have figured a lot of those things out. Now it's just about me putting it to work.
Yeah, it's timing, man. And it'll, you know, it'll work out. But, you know,
I hope.
it will. It'll work out. But so, like, to speak to the self-care and the self-love aspect, I think that's why you're like that. It's because when you begin to practice self-care and self-love and get to know who you are, and you're in that mode and you're falling in love with yourself, then you don't put so much emphasis on what's outside of you.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's why, you know, you're in the situation you're in, as far as, you know, having been single so long. And, you know, there are lots of people, and I say this all the time, there are lots of women and men who should take more time out to just be single and to just get to know themselves, date themselves, you know, all those great things, because a lot of us are carrying baggage and we don't get rid of that baggage before we go into the next situation.
And it's so unfortunate that a lot of people do not want to accept that. We do that all the time. You think about when you're laying, again, and I used the example earlier about if one of your homies come to talk to you about their drama, you may sit on the phone for that amount of time. Think about the person you're laying with night after night. I mean, literally laying with. Y'all sharing the same pillow, sharing the same saliva, sharing the same body sweated sheets. So that is, for me, I tell a lot of people, like, you don't understand how a lot of who they are is getting on you.
Yeah, it rubs off.
It's on you. And in order to heal from it, you've got to shed all of those layers that you have put on night after night after night. And let's just say, hypothetically, if you all are not coexisting the way you should be, think about all that drama and trauma that you have now added to your plate, and you're thinking that, oh, I can go back out to society and function with another person who I don't know, who they don't know me, and we're just going to hide this till the year and a half mark. Some people can't even hit the year mark. They'll start showing you within the first 30 days.
True.
That's a lot. And I don't think we're conscious of, because we're always about that instant gratification. So if you're thinking of, like, oh, okay, I like shorty over here, she fine. I like dude over here, he lit, whatever you may say. I want to see what that's about. You're not conscious of, okay, who did she just come from? What kind of man did she just come up under his spell?
True.
And I see a lot of, and let me put this out there. Another reason why I have taken so much time to myself, I do not see, I hate to say it, but a lot of people are going to get offended. I cannot say that I know any one relationship in my life at this very point in time that is functionable in a sense of that person is behind closed doors secretly happy with their woman, and vice versa. She's happy with her man. I don't see a lot of healthy relationships. You'll put on for the people in front of the people, but you complaining like, oh, dog, my wife, she she this type of way. She don't cook. She don't clean. I hear men tell me like, "Oh, can you record whatever you cooked that you posted on your Instagram? My wife don't know how to cook. Could you at least record?"
So why did you marry a woman that doesn't know how to cook if that's what's important to you?
That might not have been important at that point in time. Shit. What might have been important is you digging a hole to fill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I can't. So I have people that I know who are in situations where they're married and they're very unhappy, and it's like, she doesn't do this. She's not like this. I want to be with someone like this. And I'm like, bro, you knew who she was when you married her, but you did it anyway. Now you want to complain to me, nigga? I don't care.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And so you have to question, not about that other person. I question to say, okay, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to stay here and fight? I'm trying to actively change this about myself. I'm not going to stay through no drama and trauma because I've never experienced that in a relationship. So if it comes to me, I'm leaving.
As you should. I agree with that.
And here, for anybody who missed that, I said drama and trauma. So a person who I can't get along with, I can't be with you. If we can't be cohesive and laugh, I love to be in good energy with someone. That helps me be submissive. You asked me that question earlier, and I don't think I had an opportunity to answer. I love to have a submissive personality to me. That makes me feel more of who I am, more of the woman who I want to be still in the future. Okay. Again, I grew up with a father who taught me the importance of being submissive, but then also taught me the importance of what it looks like for a woman to be submissive, not just to any man. You have to obviously, women want to be submissive to leadership.
True.
It's just like money, and I'm gonna use this for a small example. If you have $100 in cash, I guarantee you it's gonna be hard for you to keep that because it has no place to go. It's just in your hand and you keep looking at it. Much like women, we like to be able, and women, don't get upset when I say this, we like to be controlled.
Oh yeah, they gonna get you. They gonna get you.
And I'm prepared for it.
They gonna get you.
We like to be controlled. We like to, for a leader of a man, keyword, to be able to say, "Hey, we going this place. We doing this." If we can't do that, what are we doing?
True.
So you can't, just like with that $100 bill, you can't expect it to do what serve its purpose when you have no purpose for it to begin with. You can take that $100 and say, hey, I'm out living frivolously, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do today, do tomorrow, so I'm going to take this $100. I'm going to go to the bank and deposit this. That's going to give you more of an idea how to move tomorrow than you move today. Same thing I would equate a woman with. If you don't tell us how we're supposed to behave and function, if you don't have no foundation for us to stand on, we gonna be kicking, scratching, yelling, whatever comes to our mind, because you have not laid that foundation for us. And that's what a lot of us really want, myself included. I want a man to be able to be like, okay, hey, this is what it is. I'm gonna be looking at you like, okay.
Right, got it.
But
I get it.
If you don't have the ability to do that, I'm gonna be like, all right, so today I got this going on. Do you want to eat dinner? Are you hungry? I'm not going to be as considerate versus prioritizing you. So we as men, as women, have to be self-conscious of that.
But in the same breath, say for example, because what I'm hearing is that you're basically looking for a man who's going to, I won't say dictate, but who's going to manage and direct some things.
Lead.
Right? Lead.
I like that word.
Okay,
lead.
it sounds better. But in his leadership, he may lead his leading may lead to more than 3 days a week, and that's going to be a deal breaker.
Well, that's why I'm actively trying to pursue that change within myself, because I think if I had an amazing partner to lead me, the number of days is not going to,
it wouldn't be.
It's not going to matter. I'm going to want to be up under your presence. I'm going to want to be led by you. I'm going to feel comfortable being around you to where that has become a part of me. You know, to where like I look forward to seeing you today, even if it's, you know, if I'm on the go, even if it's for a short time at the beginning of the morning or at the end of the day, I'm going to need that to feed my spirit, my soul, in order to keep going on in my own trajectory.
Gotcha.
But do we have that? More often than not. And the question is no.
The answer is no.
So I guess the question I would pose people to do is, how can you allow yourself to live in that kind of space so you can be more successful in your path? We've got to focus on our abilities, our skills to say, hey, how can I do better? Part of my self-care journey, I want to show people like, hey, we can start here with these products, putting on some nice body butters that make you feel good just with having it on. But that in terms of start making you want to invest your time and attention to everything else when it comes to your body.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
Definitely.
So it hopes I hope that I continue to encourage and influence a lot of women and men. I'm starting to slowly get into the male species. It's a little I'm a little cautious in doing so, because I don't want to misstep and land on a landmine. But that's something that's I'm really excited about. If anybody want to know, my website is MissBChanel.com. It's MSBCHANEL.com. I have a lot of products that's available to you all, men and women, and even teens. Skincare products, body soaps, body butters, feminine hygiene products. And also I'm going to start getting into, hopefully, some nonprofit opportunities that can really kind of help people transition into who they're becoming or want to become. Because this is such a small piece of it. Everybody's not going to be in tune with skincare products if they're not there yet. But one thing I think everybody can relate to, everybody wants to be a better them. They don't know how to do it or where to start, but that's something that I think this is just my small indication of trying to open a door to say, hey, you know how much better you'll feel if your skin was glowing, if you could use this soap every day and you would feel like your skin is clean or whatever. That opens a door of a conversation to say, hey, what else is there in your life that you think you might need to cleanse?
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully that that message will start reaching the people very soon, because I think we all need a lot of influence, positive influence in our lives versus, you know, the idea of having the total opposite.
True. Well said.
Well said.
So with that being said, we're going to close it out. I don't have anything else to say. You brought it home. You hit a home run.
Thank you. I tried to.
Definitely.
Thank you for this opportunity, though, to talk and to enjoy a good reflection. And I did have my own cognac. That's one of my favorites. I try not to drink it too often because, you know, they say anything happens. Right?
Wow. That's the first time I've ever heard that. But that's funny.
You've never heard that before?
Never heard that.
Yeah.